Assalamu alaikum. So I welcome you all to this session organized by Roche. I'm Dr. Hina. I work as the lead of medical retina service in Amanat Eye Hospital, and I also head their retinal imaging centers. So I'll be speaking about the new kid on the block, so to say, which is Faricimab. And we are looking forward to its launch in Pakistan at the end of Q2 most likely, and therefore this is a session which is organized for a know-how as to what is different about this molecule and how do we go about it. So the usual question a clinician must ask when subjected to a different molecule is, how is this molecule going to improve the service that I'm giving my patients? Right? So we all have been using anti-VEGF, different qualities of anti-VEGF for a very long time. And for anyone to ask us to move from one molecule to the other, we have to be a little convinced as to what are the advantages, because we all have our comfort factors with the chemical that we are already using. So that's precisely here what we're gathered here to do today. I am going to be presenting about the clinical trials that made it possible for an FDA approval to be provided for this molecule, that have the evidence over why it is a molecule that we should look out for. So when we talk about neovascular AMD and diabetic macular edema, 20 million people affected globally with neovascular AMD, 18 million people affected globally with DME, and these numbers are bound to increase very fast, very soon, and very much. So you can tell yourself, well, okay, as an ophthalmologist, mera kasoor to nahi, anyone who lives long enough is going to be at risk for developing an AMD, and then a diabetic who doesn't control his diabetes will get DME. But the thing is that on our front, NAMD is the leading cause of blindness in the elderly, and diabetic eye disease is the leading cause of blindness in the working population. So obviously we as ophthalmologists are not doing things right here. And there are a lot of unmet needs that need to be met. So, look out for any new molecule that comes up, whether or not you decide to use it or not. And then treatment burdens, we all know about that. We're financially a very unfortunate country. We have to look into price quotes of any molecule that we can think of. With the extremely tragic events that happened around bevacizumab in Lahore and the ban that was slapped on us thereafter, we're not left with much choice. So we have to think about working with the pharmaceutical companies. Yasser is here and all their team is here, and we'll try and come up with a kind of practice that can be beneficial both for the clinician as well as for the pharmaceutical company. So anti-VEGF therapies, we know that they started with ranibizumab. Pegaptinib was the first, and then ranibizumab, finally followed by aflibercept. And then brolucizumab जितनी जल्दी आया उतनी जल्दी चला गया because of its जब उसकी post marketing analysis हुआ तो there were a lot of more than the acceptable limit of retinal vasculitis with that. So let's just skip through it. And now with this new drug in town, I said, let's ask ourselves, what added advantage does it have over and above what I'm already using? So somebody needs to impress me a lot before I can come out of my comfort factor and start using new drugs. Is case mein, the new molecule that they're going to be talking about, Faricimab is going to be talking about, is the Ang2 molecule, or the angiopoietin 2 molecule. What's happening in DME as well as in neovascular AMD, albeit in different retinal vascular beds, is there's vascular instability and therefore neovascularization, along with vascular leakage and whatnot, the whole cascade. What we're interested when we talk about Faricimab is this receptor over here, the TIE2 receptor. ये सेल मेम्ब्रेन्स के ऊपर होता है, एंड उसके लिए दो competitors होते हैं. One is angiotensin 1 and the other is angiotensin 2. Now both of them are like the good sibling and the bad sibling, so kind of like my brother and me. Anyway, so the Ang1 receptor, when that binds to the TIE receptor, it actually leads to a lot of vascular stability. But when the Ang2 receptor binds to the Tie receptor, the Ang2 molecule binds to the Tie receptor, तो vascular instability. So both of them have got opposing effect, and both of them compete with one another for this Tie receptor. So if the amount of the devil molecule, which is Ang2 molecule, is to increase, so there's less Ang1 available, more Ang2 available, Tie receptor would be activated more by the Ang2 molecule, and you'll have a lot of vascular instability, and that is just what happens in all of your retinal vascular disorders. Ang2 levels जो हैं उसमें cellular environment में बढ़ जाते हैं. And होता क्या है? Your vessels become unstable, the tight junctions, they weaken, leading to vascular leakage. A lot of inflammatory components come along, the parasites tend to be lost, and they're the supporting cells of your blood vessel. New blood vessels tend to sprout, which are very, very leaky and very, very abnormal. Another very interesting fact about Ang2 activity is that जब आप Ang2 को inhibit करते हो तो VEGF भी इतना अच्छा काम नहीं करता. So that is also something that they proved in mice models. That ठीक है VEGF बढ़ा हुआ है, but if you were to by any way inhibit Ang1, then the level of VEGF activity also reduces. And that's the sell point for any molecule that may be able to block Ang1 alongside their VEGF molecule. So the amount of inflammation, the vascular leakage, and the fibrosis would both decrease if you were to use any molecule जो कि Ang2 blockade side by side करे. So here is where the faricimab molecule comes in. He's got two binding sites for different molecules. One is the Ang2 and the other is anti-VEGF-A. Those are its active sites, और उसके नीचे एक FC fragment है. Now the FC fragment is always in these molecules modified ताकि उसमें systemic exposure कम हो, उसका inflammatory potential कम हो, and then you have less idiopathic inflammatory reactions to the molecule itself or sensitization ना हो. So obviously that modification has also occurred. Now, what is the evidence I have that faricimab works, and how does it work in the long run? तो उसके लिए DME के लिए ये दो studies हुई थी, Tenaya and Lucerne, which were identical studies, and it was the best sort of evidence that you can provide, and they were multicentric, double-masked, randomized studies. So how many of us are using treat and extend regimens in our clinic? Can I have a show of hands? So you're well aware of the Altair and the ARIES study जो कि उसकी aflibercept के ऊपर हुई थी. So if I can just take you through the ये है pointer है the treatment regimen, a pointer or a mic, anything will do. I just want to move away from I can point with my finger if that's what you're asking. Okay, so what aflibercept, and I hope I'm loud enough, not a lot of people here. The aflibercept molecule, they come, we are not audible anymore? Okay. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello? Okay. So this is a rather important slide, and the other slide is just going to mirror this one. So I'd just like to take some time on this slide to let you know how they collected the evidence that they did. So whenever you've got a faricimab guy coming into your clinic and saying, you know, ये वाले trials हमारे हुए थे, so you should have a good idea of what that is. Aflibercept molecule, this is your bar. वो कहते हैं ना standard bar standard कौन सा है? तो what they did was they जो क्वालिटी जिसके असेस उन्होंने जिसके अगेंस्ट उन्होंने अपने आप को मेजर अप करने की कोशिश की, व्हाट वाज द बेस्ट मॉलिक्यूल अवेलेबल विद द बेस्ट डोज रेजिमेन. सो दे डिडंट एक्सटेंड aflibercept. aflibercept को उन्होंने 8 वीकली ही दिया, and that is where they set the bar. So their molecule needed to act up till that quality measure. So as per the routine protocol, 3 aflibercept loading doses and then 8 weekly intervals पे वो देते रहे throughout the length of the 2-year study that they were designed to do. जो faricimab molecule था, and we're talking about DME, slight change with, we're talking about, yeah, we are talking about DME, right? So slight change in the dosage regimen. Faricimab में you have 4 loading doses, ठीक है? उसके बाद what they did was they went up till 8 weeks and they sought signs of activity. अगर signs of activity आ गया तो आपका ये मरीज़ इस bar में fall कर गया. And till then, till the end of about 60, इससे 1 साल के बाद तक उन्होंने उसको 8 वीकली रेजिमेंट पे ही रखा. जो इस टाइम पर इनएक्टिव थे उनको 4 हफ्ते बाद दोबारा चेक किया उन्होंने। अगर एक्टिविटी आ गई तो ऐसे पेशेंट्स को आइडेंटिफाई कर दिया कि ये 12 वीकली रेजिमेन पे ही रहेंगे फॉर द नेक्स्ट 1 ईयर, और अगर वो 12 वीक्स पे भी इनएक्टिव था तो फिर उसको उन्होंने 16 वीकली रेजिमेन पे डाल दिया, डाउन एंड आउट। सो फ्रॉम 4 लोडिंग डोजेज देयर वाज अ सबसेट ऑफ पेशेंट्स जो सीधा 16 वीक्स पे चला गया। दोज दैट शोड एक्टिविटी वर ईदर pulled down to 12 weeks and remained on 12 weeks, and then they were pulled down to either 8 weeks अगर 8 weeks पे ये activity आ जाती। So you from get-go, not from get-go, from this point onwards, you had 3 subgroup of patients receiving faricimab. By the end of year 1, एक तरह का overlap हुआ where all of them were actually receiving faricimab injections, and from then onwards, they went to personalized treatment interval, a very dangerous term that these people are using, which is called PTI. And they went on to do a PTI scheduling. और उस PTI में basically is the same as your Aries and Altair. So if at 12 weekly intervals या जिसको आप 12 weekly पे जा रहे हो, if at that time आपके जो CST और BCV है वो stable है, तो फिर you extend, because that means the eye is stable and you can afford cap extension कर दो by 4 weeks and up to a maximum of 16 weeks. So depending on wherever you were, if you were on 8 weekly.
This is the DME trial?
Sir.
And by activity you will increase in thickness?
Okay, so yes, the activity was measured by BCVA and CST. And in fact, in order to keep the study double blind, they didn't leave it to, they actually used a software. The software में directly CST और BCVA feed कर दिया जाता था और वो automatically खुद calculate करता था।
There is no decrease vision, but thickness is increasing, things like that.
I get your point. So there were 2 of these criteria, because इसका fine print पता नहीं आप पढ़ पा रहे हो या नहीं, 2 of these criteria had to be met in order for it to be either stable or unstable. So अगर unstable है तो फिर तो आप पीछे चले जाओगे ना, ठीक हो गया। आप 4 weekly interval से पीछे जाते रहो until you are down to 4 weekly injections, क्योंकि उससे पीछे तो आप 3 weekly तो faricimab नहीं इंजेक्ट कर सकते। अगर वो जो है स्टेबल है तो फिर आप एक्सटेंड करते हो, ठीक है। और 4 weekly, so they went by Aries, not Altair. But I'm not talking about aflibercept now, so we'll just discuss it. 4 weekly interval पे पीछे आ रहे हैं, 4 weekly पे ही आगे जा रहे हैं, और अगर वो इम्प्रूव कर रही है तो फिर आप मेंटेन करते हो उसको, यानी उसमें अभी भी गुंजाइश है। So if from the last reading it's actually improving, so it's on a path, then you don't extend, because it needs that dosage at that interval. Okay? So same CST and BCVA, extend. Improving CST and BCVA, stay there at that interval. And अगर वो decrease करिए तो obviously, अगर बढ़ रही है तो फिर obviously you have to go back, right? इसके ऊपर उन्होंने अगला साल गुजारा। So इस साल तक तो यहाँ पे आ गए, अगले साल वो PTI पे चले गए, and the study ended after 2 years. After 2 years are the results that we're going to be showing you today. This is faricimab versus aflibercept at the end of 2 years in terms of vision gain. Okay? So you have, मतलब अगर ये क्रिकेट मैच होता है तो इस वक्त तक ड्रॉ हो चुका होता है, you know, वो जो क्रिकेट मैच के स्कोर वाले बार्स होते हैं। So in the end of the day you're like 4.4 letters versus 4.3. I'm not really very, sorry Roche people, it's not really very impressed. Why should I change from Eylea? But this was the sellout for me. The median number of injections during the entire study reduced by 5. So if I were to tell a patient, and median number of injections during the PTI phase in the next year was 6 in aflibercept and 3 in faricimab. So with reasonable certainty, if I can tell my patient that, listen, we'll start you on faricimab, और 1 साल के बाद you'll need only 3 injections, यानी अगले साल. And that was about 80% of their patients. So that was the real sort of sellable feature as far as faricimab is concerned for me. Again, comparable reductions. So they were looking for, all they had to prove was non-inferiority. अब non-inferiority भी अगर उन्होंने prove कर ली तो number of injections में वो लोग आगे थे, in a sense that number of injections कम लगे थे उनके group में. So that would be where you would say that, you know, faricimab, and obviously, of course, every molecule has its own molecular structure. So we've all had those that practice medical retina. आपसे जब Faricimab या किसी भी नए molecule की बात होती है, I'm sure there are patients whose faces are coming to your minds right now, the ones who are not responding either to Eylea or to Liz. You try to extend, they just come back with fluid every time until you're down to, I've had patients who are down to 6 weekly or even 4 weekly. A 4 weekly Eylea lagwana unke liye, some of them just fall out, right? So those are the patients, jinka, you think about tagging them for something like Faricimab. How much time do I have? Okay. So greater anatomical improvements, aflibercept versus Faricimab, again, these are very closely following graphs, but what I like to think of is in terms of obviously number of injections, right? How many of my patients improve by what? So by week 24, you have at least 80% on either 3 monthly or 4 monthly intervals. And by week 112, you have about 80% on Q16 or Q12 weekly intervals. And this is what they believe it has to do with it. So I mentioned that angiotensin 2 inhibition जो है वो VEGF की activity को भी affect करती है. So now if you see, this is the VEGF line and this is the Ang2 line. पहला ये injection आप देते हैं, both of them go down to near zero. Then the VEGF starts to rise again, quite rapidly if I may say, or even comparable to Eylea, but the angiotensin 2 inhibition is very prolonged. And I think it's this inhibition of the angiotensin 2 and the way this caterpillar lags is what it, even आपका VEGF बढ़ भी रहा है, लेकिन वो activity जो है वो prolonged sustain कर रहा है. Again, very safe medicine to use. They did a head-to-head comparison with the aflibercept versus Faricimab, and they found out. And please make mention वो कोई बैठे हुए इस वक्त OSP वाले head bigwigs. Endophthalmitis इसमें भी हुआ है, ठीक है. So endophthalmitis remains a reality, and it's going to be there for as long as we're practicing medical retina. No need to be scared. I don't know what happened with that fiasco with bevacizumab. There were 3 cases of endophthalmitis with Faricimab, and it still got FDA approved. So let's not panic over here. Okay, so over 2 years, again, this is the same slide. I'm sorry, did I say NAMD? That was DME. That was NAMD. This was DME. Yosemite and Rhine, again, comparable studies. And again, वही सारी चीज़, थोड़ा सा उनका treatment schedule different था in that Faricimab got 6 loading doses, right? And they had a third arm again, जिसमें Faricimab जो है उन्होंने 6 PTI को शुरू से ही डाल दिया. So this time they had 3 arms. So Faricimab 4 loading doses and then personalized treatment interval from get-go. The other arm was Faricimab 6 loading doses and Q8 weekly. Because they wanted to prepare, और ये baseline arm आपका वो ये aflibercept वाला है जो कि 8 weekly intervals. But this is as high as the bar goes. They wanted to test it with the best dosage of Faricimab, and then they wanted to test this bar with how much they could extend Faricimab. So these were the 3 bars on which they worked on. And again, this is what we were talking about. When do you reduce interval? When do you stay on the interval that you're on? And when do you extend interval? Right? Reduction of interval was CST value जब increase हुई between 10% and 20%. That means के it's increasing. That means कि जिस interval पे आप उसको inject कर रहे हो उसमें वो stability achieve नहीं कर रहा. So you pull back on your treatment interval. So अगर आपने 8 weekly last injection लगाया था, you drop down to 4 weekly. Interval is maintained अगर CST has decreased by more than 10%. So अगर आपने अच्छा उसका चल रहा है और वो decrease कर रही है and it's continuing to decrease, so don't extend. Keep it on that interval so that it can continue to decrease until it stops decreasing and remains stable, and then you can start extending. And this again, head-to-head comparison with aflibercept and Faricimab. अब इसमें जो arm आपने जिसके ऊपर concentrate करना है ना, वो ये कि 8 weekly dosing of Faricimab is performing just as well as the PTI dosing. So there's really no need to inject Faricimab 8 weekly basis पे when you have evidence कि वो 16 weekly extension पे भी उतना ही अच्छा perform करता है. So that is also something that I find very impressive. And again, number of injections is the cell mark here for me. We were aflibercept 14 injections versus faricimab PTI में हमें 10 से 11 injections लगाने पड़े थे. हम नहीं, जिन्होंने ये research की है, हम इस काबिल नहीं हैं अभी, लेकिन इंशाल्लाह we'll get there. And I think that I'll just, this is again the most important slide for me. At 52 weeks, you had 72% patients who were either receiving 3 monthly injections or 4 monthly injections. And that's a big comfort factor for your patient. जिसको पता है, देखिए, there's a lot of anxiety. अगर मैंने और आपने अगर आँख में इंजेक्शन लगवाना होता तो God knows I'd be like the patient from hell, seriously. But इन लोगों को लगवाना, and then for the ophthalmologist, every time you inject, you're subjecting him to endophthalmitis, ना? चाहे जितनी भी कम chance क्यों ना हो. That one person who's going to get it, he's going to scar you for life. So, however, you know, वो कहते हैं the more the merrier. इस case में कुछ मुझे जितने भी advantage दे दे कि कम injections again, I'll be for that compound. Again, sustained VEGF-A and 2 blockade and well tolerated. I'll leave my dice to Usman now, who's going to be talking about actually interesting stuff of how he used faricimab on his own patients. Dr. Usman. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Usman Imtiaz. I'm currently working as a consultant ophthalmologist in Oculus Advanced Eye Care, Lahore. So I had the opportunity to use this newer agent for one of my patient. My patient was 85 years old, male with a type 1 CNV. Patient had multiple injections over the period of last 5 years. But unfortunately, he developed tachyphylaxis with aflibercept. I switched to the available agent ranibizumab. Patient got improved, but the problem was I could not extend beyond 4 weeks with ranibizumab. So I discussed about faricimab with the patient, and he was okay with that. So we got patient basis DRAP approval for the agent, and so this was the last year recurrence of the patient. You can see there is some intraretinal and subretinal fluid, and there is also a prechoroidal cleft as well. So this was after the aflibercept last year when he had the recurrence. There was improvement in the subretinal fluid, but the prechoroidal cleft and the sub-RPE fluid, it was there. It was still there. This was in the left eye. So when we switched to faricimab, you can see there the pre-injection OCT and the post-second injection OCT. The fluid in the right eye, the subretinal fluid as well as the sub-RPE fluid, it was massively improved. This is the left eye. So this is the most recent OCT of that patient, and you can see the prechoroidal cleft, it got improved also. But previously with aflibercept, there was no effect on this prechoroidal cleft. And it is documented now that this prechoroidal cleft, it corresponds with the activity of the neovascularization. And this is the left eye. In this eye, the prechoroidal cleft is gone. There is no prechoroidal cleft after 3 injections. The patient is still under the follow-up, and I'm seeing him on a 4-weekly basis. और अभी उसका जो है वो सिर्फ 4 वीक्स हुए हैं 3rd इंजेक्शन के बाद, और आई वुड लाइक टू सी कि कब तक उसकी एक्टिविटी जो है ये स्टेबल रहती है, और होपफुली उसको इंजेक्शंस की कम ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. सो एनी क्वेश्चंस?
उतना ज़्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं होगा।